The Diplomat, 19th of March 2024, the benefits of Angola's most recent visit to China for the G7. Speaking of expanding global competition between the United States and China in the southern African region, President Lourenço's visit occurred. Angola is always near, if not at, the top of the list regarding Africa-China relations, regardless of the measure you use. Thus, President João Lourenço's official visit to China last week, which included visits to Beijing and Shandong, was interesting to follow, particularly for what it could reveal about Angola's 2050 vision. The president's visit was also the second head of state from Africa to visit China this year. The first was President Julius Maada of Sierra Leone in early March. Both visits serve as crucial predictors as China prepares to host the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation for the seventh time in Beijing. Furthermore, Lourenço's visit coincided with discussions of escalating international rivalry between China and the United States in the southern African region, particularly about a recently announced project that the G7 countries have been actively pushing, the Lobito Corridor. Angola's international rivalry used to be mostly centered around its oil resources. For many years, Angola has been heavily dependent on the export of raw commodities, namely oil and related goods. However, it imports most of its oil products from other countries, mainly the Netherlands. Nevertheless, a primary Angolan strategy has been to use most of the proceeds from oil exports to fund infrastructure, primarily through well-negotiated loans with China based on natural resources. With the construction of a large amount of new infrastructure, the nation is attempting to diversify its economy. As confirmed by the most recent presidential visit, China will continue to play a vital role in Angola's objectives for mutually beneficial strategic reasons. China and Angola first established diplomatic ties in 1983. Since then, 5 visits to China have been undertaken by Angola's presidents: José dos Santos in 1988, 1998, 2008, and 2015, and current President João Lourenço in 2018. This is the 6th time an Angolan president has visited China. Lourenço's visit is the second. He is hardly a novice to China, though. Lourenço has made numerous trips to China in the past. In 2000, he visited as the General Secretary of the MPLA, the long-standing political party of Angola. As the president's special envoy in 2016 and the defense minister in 2015, he made 2 more trips to China. Angola and China formed a strategic alliance in 2010, and in 2018, Angola became a member of the Belt and Road Initiative. Angola became the 16th nation in Africa to reach the status of a comprehensive strategic cooperation partnership with China during Lourenço's current visit. The update was quite long delayed. Angola is one of the few African nations with a trade surplus with China, with a ratio of over 6-to-1, and is China's second largest commercial partner in Africa. The UN still considers Angola a least developed country, but it has zero tariff protection for 98% of the goods it exports to China. Moreover, Angola is the largest beneficiary of Chinese loans in Africa, receiving over 27% of China's total loans to the region from 2000 to 2022. Approximately 58% of the $45 billion that Angola has borrowed has gone toward energy-related projects. The most recent outcome was that Dr. Antonio Agostinho Neto, Luanda International Airport became operational in November 2023 and was the most significant airport ever built outside of China by a Chinese company. Angola obtained a 3-year debt payment freeze from China during the COVID-19 epidemic, which will expire in May 2023. Angola used its bilateral relationship with China to quickly achieve this result, starkly contrasting to neighboring Zambia and other nations looking to the G20 common framework for debt relief. What does Angola's approach to China reveal about the presidential visit? How can these dynamics impact Angola's relations with other nations, such as the members of the G7? Firstly, it should be clear that Angola has not changed its previous approach. It continues with its signature debt-financed infrastructure projects and oil contracts. Therefore, Lourenço's top priorities were to decrease guarantee reserves and increase credit lines for essential projects. Similarly, China Gajoba Group Company Limited was recently awarded a contract by Angola to construct the Caculo-Cabaca hydropower station. When finished, this will be the largest hydroelectric plant in Angola and the third largest in Africa, with a capacity of over 2.1 gigawatts. The project is anticipated to supply more than half of the nation's electrical needs. Angola will continue implementing its China strategy, emphasizing infrastructure and energy. Nonetheless, the Angolan government wishes to investigate the potential of value-added processing and manufacturing as a new dimension to Angola-China relations, expanding on an investment protection agreement signed in December 2023 that includes a dispute settlement mechanism and links to Angola 2050. According to information from the Chinese embassy, more than 400 Chinese enterprises are listed as present in Angola, but most are not generating anything. The new approach, which is currently in place, will change this. To secure funding for the completion of the Lobito oil refinery, Sonangol, the National Oil Corporation of Angola, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with China National Chemical Engineering. Lourenço visited two health product enterprises in Shandong, a province renowned for its heavy industry and manufacturing. Giants like Haier and Hisense and several massive agricultural businesses, many of which currently distribute their goods throughout Africa, are based in Shandong. Some even run businesses in nations like Egypt. Lourenço's visit to Shandong might be an attempt to entice businesses from the region to establish operations in Angola. Angola's investment proposal to Chinese and other foreign investors should be significantly enhanced because of the country's recent infrastructure improvements, the high expected returns from the African continental free trade areas, increased trade with southern Africa, the planned improvements to the Lobito Corridor Railway, and the profits from the port of Lobito, which is currently run by the French conglomerate AGL. One area that could be very profitable is renewable energy. With 4 gigawatts of built renewable capacity, Angola already ranks highly within the continent, but this is insignificant compared to its potential, as a recent briefing from my firm, Development Reimagined, pointed out. Angola has 13 gigawatts of hydropower and around 55 gigawatts of solar potential. The renewable energy industry in Angola has the potential for great profit with appropriate transmission and storage. With the argument that the terms of the Lobito Corridor Agreement are biased in favor of Washington and its friends, some will be eager to draw attention to the Angolan president's travel to China from European and Washington supporters. Lourenço's visit, however, has the potential to improve the business case for loans and investments by American and European companies, as well as African financial institutions like the African Development Bank and African Finance Corporation, to support the Lobito Corridor by securing new agreements with China. It is essential to remember that the 1,344-kilometer railway was first renovated over 10 years, starting in 2006, by a Chinese company called China Railway 20 Bureau Group Corporation. This work was partly made possible by a 2004 loan from China Exim Bank. It was done following the end of Angola's civil war. It's not just that Angola has oil that has made it one of China's most significant allies on the continent. Angola has achieved this by approaching its interactions with China and other countries with strategy, moderation, and foresight. Other African nations can follow suit with this new visit and pursue their multilateral contacts. It is by no means an exception.